All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we are going to talk about Gary Russell Jr. and what Gary Russell Jr. predicts for the Errol Spence Terence Crawford fight, and in doing so, gives Terence Crawford a warning about what he needs to do to beat Errol Spence Jr. and tells the boxing world the biggest weakness that Terence Crawford has in that fight and why he's picking Errol Spence Jr. to win. Also gives us some information about what is going on with himself and when he's returning to boxing. So towards the end of the video, we're going to talk about that for all Gary Russell Jr. fans or Gary Russell Jr. haters who always want to complain about inactivity. But let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. We're going to be in the 147-pound division for this video, talking about the biggest fight in boxing, probably the most anticipated fight in boxing for a very, for a good amount of time. I won't say it's very long time. There were some other fights I think that were anticipated, but this one is definitely way up there. The undisputed title fight at 147 pounds between Errol Spence Jr., the WBA, WBC, and IBF champion, and Terence Bud Crawford, the WBO champion. Both of them are perennial top 10 pound for pound guys over the last 5 years. A little bit longer for Terence Crawford, who, obviously has more fights, is the older fighter, and has been around a little bit longer than Errol Spence Jr. is. But another top pound for pound fighter, in my opinion, when he was at his absolute peak and healthy, is Gary Russell Jr. Definitely knows his boxing, a WBC champion for a very long time, 5 years or 6 years at 126 pounds. Trainer of Gary Antoine Russell and Gary Antonio Russell. Gary Antoine Russell is coming up, undefeated fighter with, I think he's got 14-0, 14 knockouts at 140 pounds, and a very good fighter. So obviously Gary Russell Jr. knows what he's talking about. Now, before I get into what he said, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you are a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you so much for your continued support. It really does make a big difference to the channel in the live streams and all of that. So, but let's get into this because Gary Russell Jr. has been very consistent in the things that he has said about this fight with Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford. And so he was asked again, he gave an interview to Fight, I do believe it was Fight Hype, that he gave an interview to, where he spoke again about what he think was going to happen. And he picks Errol Spence Jr. to win the fight. And the reason that he picks Errol Spence Jr. to win the fight is he believes that Errol is more defensive, more fundamentally sound, and more defensively sound than Terence Crawford is. And as a result, he believes that the fight is going to be close for the first 3 or 4 rounds, kind of like a tactical fight. But after that, Errol Spence Jr. round 4, 5, 6, gonna catch Terence Crawford in one of those corners and really start giving, Terence Crawford some real problems and landing punches on him, the things that Errol Spence Jr. likes to do. Now, he also said that, look, he's like being very clear. He's like, look, man, I see a way that Terence Crawford can win the fight. He said, but Terence Crawford's got to be in 15-round shape. He's got to be in exceptional physical shape in order to do that. Not 12-round shape, 15-round shape, where he can afford to go full speed, and I'm paraphrasing here, basically where he can afford to go full speed the entire fight and is able to keep a jab in Errol Spence Jr.'s face, keep moving side to side, shifting whenever there's any type of closeness, whenever the fighters get close, to be able to grab Errol Spence Jr., hold Errol Spence Jr., force the ref to break it up, push back and start again, and keep going and keeping going and keeping going. And pretty much the way that it sounds to me is just like run out the clock in the fight, which is Lance not saying that that's, some bad thing or whatever, but not to engage with Errol or limit how much Errol is actually able to engage with him. And he said if he's got the strength to do that and the endurance to do that, and he's in 15-round shape, can do that entire time, then hey man, Terence Crawford could have a chance to win. And he said if Errol Spence Jr., if there's a knockout, and I want to make sure that I'm going to say this statement in two different ways, because I don't want to, I want to make sure, because the meaning that he had was a little bit hard for me to get out of the way that Gary Russell Jr. phrased his statement. He said he sees Errol Spence Jr. by a knockout, and if it goes to the decision, Terence Crawford. Now, I'm not sure what he meant by that, like as if like Terence Crawford would need to win by a decision because he's not knocking out Errol Spence Jr. So if Terence wins, he'll win by decision. And if Errol wins, most likely it'll be by knockout. Not quite sure. There could have been a couple follow-up questions there to kind of sort that out. However, I mean, it is what it is. Very, very solid prediction for the fight, or analysis of the fight with very, very good reasons for why he believes what he believes. Don't have any problem whatsoever with that at all. There's definitely a path for Terence Crawford to win the fight. There's a path for Errol Spence Jr. to win the fight. As far as being in 15-round shape and being able to go like that, hey man, you're 35 years old, 36 years old. I don't know if you're going to be able to move, shift, keep going side to side, staying away from Errol for 12 rounds, or for the 8 rounds or so that he would need to do to get up on the cards. And that's also not something that we've seen Terence Crawford do or fight like since he's moved up to 147 pounds. And there's a certain amount of nimbleness that you need for that. And again, not saying that I know that Terence Crawford doesn't have that, just saying that I have not seen Terence Crawford do that. Also, there's the mentality aspect of it as well, where if Terence Crawford gets hit, Terence Crawford wants to hit back. Now, he may, and I don't see that changing. It may change, but I don't see that. I don't see that happening. If Terence Crawford gets hit by Errol, Terence is going to start throwing shots back at Errol, and off we go for stints of the fight. But at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. I got Errol Spence Jr. to win in the fight. I know a lot of people have Errol Spence Jr. winning the fight. A lot of people have Terence Crawford winning the fight. That's why the fight is very, very interesting. Also, on note on Gary Russell Jr. himself, he says that he is going to be making a return to boxing, and he's going to be returning above 126 pounds. So you can pretty much count on seeing him at 130 pounds. And I suspect that the fight that it could more than likely be taking place at 130 pounds would be something with Chris Colbert. He may fight, but he said he's ready to go into the top fights in the division. He doesn't want to. He said he doesn't believe he needs a tune-up or anything like that. He also explained that the reason for his inactivity was the fact that people didn't want to fight him. Surprise, surprise on that one. But anyway, it is what it is. That's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comments section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.